What's good YouTube, Ben here and welcome to the next video on the channel. Today I'm going to be ranking all of the main series Legend of Zelda games, so if you want to see more content like this, please do not forget to comment, like and subscribe. They all really help the channel out, and don't forget to join me on Twitch for some epic gaming content. That link is going to be in the description below. Let's jump into the video. Alright, so a lot of people who watch this video who watch me on Twitch might know some of the choices on this list and why they rank where they do. But this is going to be my uncut, and I'm going to rank all of the games, giving a bit of an explanation as to why they're all ranking where they are. Now, those of you who watch me on Twitch know that Legend of Zelda is my favourite game series of all time. And one of them is my favourite game of all time, but I'll wait till I get to that one specifically. So for those of you who don't watch me on Twitch, have a surprise as to what my favourite game in the series is. So we'll jump in with Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This came out on the Nintendo 3DS, and it's a really decent game actually. So it's a spiritual successor to A Link to the Past. Set in the same world with low rule, it's basically a typical Zelda game, top down. It has like a really cool gimmick. Each Zelda game has a gimmick. The gimmick in A Link Between Worlds is being able to go into walls so you can access other areas, which is pretty cool. Everything about it is okay. Like, it's a decent game, so I'm definitely going to put it in good. It's a middle ground game for me. It's good, but it doesn't do enough to make it really good. Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. By the way, my favourite game will be in the best, everything else will be great or below, so anything in great is just about as good as my favourite. So, to get that out there. Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, for those of you who watch me on Twitch, you know that I've mentioned this before, that A Link to the Past was the first game I ever played. Not the first game I ever beat, but the first one I ever played, and I love this game. It is awesome 16-bit retro goodness, the soundtrack, the gameplay. It's got the right amount of difficulty, so it's not too easy, but it's not overly too difficult. I do like the bosses. I like Aghanim as the main villain, of course, other than Ganon. But Aghanim's the main villain through the game until you fight Ganon. I love the Light World, Dark World system. It gives you another reason to explore older areas, to find new stuff. It's just a really great game with a compelling story. That is a great game. Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. This is a sequel to 4 Swords that came out on Game Boy Advance. This game is on the GameCube, and unlike with 4 Swords normal, you could play this on your own, which was fantastic. The gimmick, of course, is controlling 4 different links and have them go into different battle positions to do puzzles, to fight, and a lot of people don't like 4 Swords Adventures. I think it's one of the best Zelda games, in my opinion. I just like the difference to it. I love the level-based design, the story is decent, the music is fine. The gameplay is fun with the gimmick. I don't get what people hate about this game. I absolutely adore it, so I'm just going to go and put it in great, because it's a fantastic game. Normal 4 Swords, it's, again, hard for a lot of people. A lot of people have not played 4 Swords because it required 4 people. I am one of the fortunate ones. I have played through normal 4 Swords. I did it with my mum, my dad, and my older sister, because my mum and my dad are gamers. My sister's a gamer. So I will put it in okay. It's an okay game. Like 4 Swords Adventures, if you want to play a 4 Swords game, play Adventures. It's the definitive version. Link's Awakening. So I don't think this is accounting for the remake, so we're only going to go based on the original. It's a decent game on the Game Boy Color, or is it Game Boy itself? I can't remember if it was Color or just normal Game Boy. But it released in what, like 93, 94? And it's a decent top-down Zelda experience. It's pretty basic considering it was on Game Boy. There's not really, it sticks to the original traditional Zelda formula of top-down, like A Link to the Past does, but graphically it's a bit dated now. Again, we're talking about the original, not the remake. But other than that, it's an okay game. Like, it's an okay game. Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. So this is my favorite game of all time. I love it. The story, the graphics, the depressing, defeatist nature of the game adds for a better gameplay experience. Sure, it doesn't have as many main dungeons, but I like that. I like the fact that it cancels out a lot of main dungeons for side quests. This game is jammed packed to the brim with side quests. So many. And the time-based system that a lot of people don't like, I think, adds to the pressure of the game, because you're constantly looking at the clock, wondering if that moon is gonna fall. and I just find that it enhances the experience for me, and that's the right amount of pressure for you to get things right. I just think it's phenomenal. Everything about it is good. Zelda Ocarina of Time. Now, this was the first game I ever beat. I beat this when I was 7 years old, although, albeit not on my own. I got my dad to help me with the water temple because it confused the hell out of me. But it is a good game. My only real complaint with it is that it does not have enough side quests. The only side quests it has, are the Happy Mask quest and the Big Orange Sword quest line. That is it. The game is very linear, but it's also very fun, and I often do randos of it and Majora's Mask on Twitch, so if you want to see those, join me on Twitch. But again, it is a great game, just it doesn't have the same impact for me that Majora's does, but it will go in great, because it is a great game. I am not going to dispute that. I will say this much though, Ocarina has the best final boss in all of Zelda. The atmosphere, the darkness, the right amount of fear, it's so good and such a compelling final boss. Way better than Majora's final boss. I'm going to rank the Oracle games together because they're basically the same. The Oracle's games are really good. They sort of did what a Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, that's it, sorry. Link's Awakening did, but enhanced it for the Game Boy Color. It's very similar in terms of style and graphics, but it just adds a bit more, and it's actually a bit harder. So I'm definitely going to put those in good, because they are decent games. I'd recommend playing them. Now, I'm going to do both of these at the same time and kill two birds with one stone. Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I am sorry, but these games are complete and total utter garbage. Never played them, ever. You know what? Spirit Tracks would be decent if the controls were different. I do not like the fact that you move with the touchscreen. I hate it. It is such a bad gimmick. Let me control Link with the frickin' D-pad. Please. Or if Nintendo, if you ever remake these games, please do. I actually want to enjoy them, but Phantom Hourglass, there's no saving it. That game is complete garbage, regardless of the controls. Going back to the Temple of the Ocean King every time you need to do every time you do something, and then having to repeat floors for a bit. Oh my god, it's so monotonous, so boring, so stale. It's just, it's total garbage, dude. Like, trust me, honestly, if you want the best Zelda experience, do not play these games. Just don't. Skyward Sword. This is another mixed bag for me. I like the game. The game itself is decent. I hate the motion plus controls. They are complete trash. Most of the time, they just don't work. And when you've got a game with the controls that don't work, you can't play it. I did manage to play through the game, but it was one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had with a game, control-wise. Oh my god. So, I'm hoping that on the Switch remake, they fix all of that, because, like, if they don't, bear in mind, this is being recorded after the announcement of the Nintendo Direct that happened, like, a couple of weeks ago, so I'm kind of hoping they do fix it, but if the controls are just as bad, it will go in the same space. It's okay. If it had better controls, it would go in good. The Adventure of Link. Now, I've only ever played through this game twice, and I do remember it quite well. It was fun, but very difficult. It's definitely the most hardest and natural Zelda game. Natural difficulty, it's so difficult. Oh my lord, but it is fun, and it's a nice change of pace from normal Zelda games. It does a lot differently, and a lot of what turn-based RPGs adopted in terms of level up system and EXP system and magic systems. Like, it really did start a lot of what we use in Zelda today, like the magic system. Like, most Zelda games, or most traditional ones, have the magic system, you know, like that, and then it went into A Link to the Past, and then Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker. So, it did use a lot of stuff that later Zelda games adopted, so... But it is a good game. I'd recommend it. Like, if you want to play a hard Zelda game, definitely play that one. The original. Now, I've only played through the original about twice. The problem is, Adventure of Link and the original were a bit before my time. I was born in 1995, so the closest one to my birth was A Link to the Past. So I haven't played them that much. The only time I've played those two was on the GameCube Collector's Edition. But from what I remember, it was decent, but very cryptic. But a lot of 1980s games were known to be quite cryptic. You know, other NES titles like Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest comes to mind. I've played that, and it was a very frustrating experience. But it was a decent game, so I'll put it in okay. The problem is, by this point, there's so many Zelda games that do stuff better that it's hard to rank it higher. Zelda the Wind Waker. Now, I'm going to immediately put this in great. Wind Waker is a fantastic game. Graphically, it looks beautiful, the story is good, a bit of a rehash, but it's still good. But the thing for this game that does it for me are the dungeons. I love the dungeons in Wind Waker. Dragon Roost Cavern, Forbidden Woods, Earth Temple, Wind Temple. They are all fantastic. Honestly, if you want to play a Zelda game based upon awesome dungeons alone, play Wind Waker. Wind Waker's dungeons are phenomenal. Along with the soundtrack being one of my favorites in the series. Other than Majora's Mask, Wind Waker has my favorite soundtrack. It is so good. Just listen to the Wind Temple theme or the Dragon Roost Island theme. Both are phenomenal for what they do. Triforce Heroes, immediate trash. I'm sorry, I want to like this game, but like random players online ruined this game for me. They just ruined it. So many trolls. Don't even bother trying to play this trash. Zelda Twilight Princess will go in good. Now, I do like Twilight Princess. It is a good game. However, I have two major complaints. The first, the game is just way too long. Kind of like in the Pokemon game, so if you ever want me to do a Pokemon tier list, I'll explain this in greater detail, but I don't like Pokemon X and Y for the same reason. The game is too long. I think that if they shortened down and cut a dungeon, it would have been a lot better. Now, my other major complaint with TP is Hyrule Field has nothing in it. Hyrule Field has absolutely nothing to do. It's just a big field that you have to spend a lot of time going across in order to do anything. It is pointless. So pointless. There is virtually nothing there. It's just full of enemies. I mean, fine, but at least give me something to do whilst I'm in Hyrule Field. Like, come on. What the heck? Breath of the Wild. We're going great. Breath of the Wild is a really awesome game and very different. I do have one major complaint though, which is the dungeons. I don't like the Divine Beasts. I hope that in Breath of the Wild 2 they return to the original style of dungeons. It's one of the reasons why all of these games, well except Four Swords, this, and this are all good and top of the list because of the dungeons. The dungeons in all of these games are fantastic. But like, I don't like the Divine Beast that much, although recently I did a playthrough on Twitch where I was using glitches like bullet time bounces and bomb impact launches, and it was one of the most fun Zelda playthroughs I've ever done. So, but it is a good game, so I would recommend it. Everyone's played it by this point, but if you haven't played it, play it, it's good. And then Minish Cap. Minish Cap goes up in great. I absolutely adore Minish Cap. Minish Cap is a fantastic game, and I really hope that for the 35th anniversary, Nintendo remake this game. Minish Cap is absolutely phenomenal. It's the definitive handheld Zelda experience, so if you want to play a handheld Zelda game, and you want a really good one, play Minish Cap. Minish Cap does everything right, including the main villain being Vartai. Vartai is such a cool villain. I do like the Picori. It's an interesting twist on the Kokiri, which is really cool. Oslo the Hat is awesome. It's just fantastic. So honestly, play it if you haven't. But there you go, guys. This is my definitive Zelda list. So, starting out in Trash tier, you have Triforce Heroes, Spirit Tracks, and Phantom Hourglass. In OK tier, you have Four Swords, Link's Awakening, the original, not the remake, because the remake isn't in this list, Skyward Sword, and the OG Legend of Zelda. In Good, we have A Link Between Worlds, The Oracles, Adventure of Link and Twilight Princess. In Great, we have A Link to the Past, Four Swords Adventures, Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, Minish Cap, and the best, we have Majora's Mask. So leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Let me know your list, and don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to join me on Twitch. That link is going to be in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time.